Okay, to help you study for your algebra test, if you have a problem like this that's already in vertex form, put it into your graphing calculator and you'll see a graph like the one over here. And then just notice that you can see the vertex, you can see the y, here's the vertex, you can see the y-intercept, and you can see your x-intercepts. Now I know your teacher will want to see your work on how to find those, but at least you know what the answers should be before you even find them. Let me move something on my screen here if possible. Nope. I want to get a bigger pen. Don't know if it'll let me or not. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So what you do is, it's in vertex form, so you notice this mean is in parentheses, so that means the opposite. So you're going to go 1 to the left, and this means down 8. So you already, before you even start the problem, know the vertex. It's 1 to the left, which is -1, and down 8, which is -8. And that matches up with what you see on your graphing calculator, 1 to the left and down 8. Now don't try to do the x-intercepts or y-intercepts when it's in vertex form, but you can graph it now. If your teacher wants you to graph it, go to your left 1 and down 8, draw on your vertex, and then you draw on your parabola from there. And you might remember, because of the 2 in front, instead of going over 1 and up 1 from the vertex, you go over 1 and up 2 from the vertex, over 1 in this direction and up 2, and then you can draw in your parabola. Okay, now to get it in standard form, that's what we talked about, where you take this x plus 1 squared means, and the way you've learned to do this is by going x plus 1 times x plus 1. And x times x is x squared, 1 times x is 1x, 1 times x is 1x, and 1 times 1 is 1. So when you combine these right here, that's 2x. So you have x squared plus the x plus the x is 2x plus your 1. That all came from what you did right here, which is from up here, x plus 1 quantity squared. Now notice there's a 2 in front of that. So you need to put that in parentheses with the 2 in front of it. And there's also a -8 after that, so you put the -8 here. Now you distribute this 2, and you get 2x squared plus 4x plus 2 minus 8. And then you combine these like terms right here, and that gives you 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. And that's standard form right there. Now, I know your teacher might at that point say, I've got to grab my pen here, sorry. She might say, find the x and y intercepts for y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. I'm going to go back and make sure I have that written right. Yep. So to find the y-intercepts, that's a really easy one. You set x equal to 0. So to find the y-intercepts, you're just going to do this. You set y equal to 0. And you can see all of this part becomes 0, all of this part becomes 0, and you just get -6. So y equals -6, which is the ordered pair 0, -6, because that's the y part of your ordered pair. Remember, it goes x, y. So y equals -6 is your y-intercept. Now to find your x-intercept, that's where your teacher has you use the box diamond method. I'm not a big fan of this, but this is what you learned. So you multiplied the -6 times 2x squared to go -12x squared here. Oh, that's right. You always put it in here first, I think. I think you put a 2x squared here and a -6 here, and you multiplied those to get -12x squared, and then the 4x goes on the bottom. So you'd find out, if you play around with this for a while, you'll find out that 6x times -2x is -12x squared, and 6x added to -2x is positive 4x. So you have your 6x and your -2x. Okay, and I bet you believe this, that 2x times x is 2x squared, and 2x times -1 is -2x, and x times 6 is 6x, and 6 times -1 is -6. So what you have in parentheses is 2x plus 6 times x minus 1, and you set that equal to 0 to find your x-intercept. So you set this part to 0, and you set this part to 0. This one's really easy. You just add 1 to both sides, and you get x equals 1. So one of your x-intercepts is 1, 0. And over here, you subtract 6 from both sides to get 2x equals -6. Divide by 2, and you get x equals -3. So your other x-intercept is -3, 0. Now, if you back up and look at your graph, look at, there's 1, 0, and over here is -3, 0. Agree that your -3 zeros right there, and your 1 zeros right there, and there's your 0, -6, which is your y-intercept. So all of your work backs up everything we did right here. Okay, if it's not in standard form, I mean not in vertex form, if it's in standard form, this is where you have to complete your square to find your vertex. And by the way, if you look at this, notice there's your vertex, there's your y-intercept, but I hope you notice there's no x-intercept. So this is going to be an easy one because you don't have to find x-intercepts on this one. So let's find the vertex. This is where you have learned by your teacher to leave some room here and leave some room here. You complete the square by taking half of 4. Half of 4 is 2, and then you square that to get 4. So you go +4 minus 4. Now I know I'm going kind of quick here, but this is what you're already pretty good at. Then this we're going to deal with in a second. That's where you learn to do the box diamond thing again. And like I said, there's a way quicker way to do this, but this is the way you learned it. X squared there, 4 there. So you put a 4x squared here. And then you see the 4x goes on the bottom. And it won't take you long to figure out, oh, 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and 2x plus 2x is 4x. So I put a 2x here and a 2x here. Well, x times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x, and x times 2 is 2x, and 2 times 2 is 4. You know you have that right. So I bet you agree this box, after you factored here, became x plus 2 times another x plus 2. And that gives you x plus 2 squared. I just remembered you learned how to do that without doing all this work here. We talked about how this just goes here, and the plus sign goes there, and then you take half of this number goes here. So x plus 2 squared, and then your 5 minus 4 is 1. So there it is in vertex form, and I bet you agree the vertex is 2 to the left, which is -2, and up 1, which is +1. So there's your vertex, and notice that matches what your graphing calculator would tell you. It's 2 to the left and up 1. By the way, to find y-intercepts on this one, you do it right away. The y-intercepts, you set x for 0. So you get y equals 0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 5. And that gave you right away y equals 5. And we can see the y-intercept is 0, 5. Okay, one last problem, because you said you were having trouble with these. If they already give you the x-intercepts and you have to work backwards. So the x-intercepts are 3, 0 and -5, 0, or maybe she gives it to you like this, x equals 3 and x equals -5. Remember, you just put the opposite in parentheses. So you put x minus 3 in parentheses, and you put x plus 5 in parentheses, and you set it equal to 0. So you just take the opposite sign of these and put them in parentheses. Because if x plus 5 was actually a factor, then -5 is your answer. So now you just work backwards. And I bet you can do this really easy by just doing the box method. And So you're just going to go x minus 3 times x plus 5, and that gives you x squared minus 3x, positive 5x, and minus 15. And when you combine these right here, that's a 2x. So you have x squared plus 2x minus 15 equals 0. That's how you go backwards. If they give you the x-intercepts, and you got to come up with this equation. Then if they want to know the vertex, now you're going to do, I'm not going to do the whole problem again, but that's where you would do this. So hopefully that helps. Let me stop the recording and I'll see if I can upload this to YouTube for you.